Good afternoon, everyone. So this session is the last session of the day and last session of the conference. So we have 8 speakers here. It's a wonderful session to end the conference with minimal invasive spine surgery. All the eminent speakers are speaking today on minimalism in spine surgery. The first speaker is Senior Professor Dr. Prakash Moda. So he's speaking on microlumbar discectomy and his experience. Sir, welcome, sir. You can start your.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking on microlumbar discectomy as well as extubular discectomy. So please show my video, Lovina. Is there? Good afternoon, all. I am Dr. Prakash Moda. Greetings from Gokul Hospital. I'll be talking on microlumbar and X-tube discectomy. Microlumbar discectomy means performing lumbar discectomy with the help of microscope. History of spine surgery goes way back to Hippocratic era, but the first intentional spine surgery was done by Professor Mixter and Barr, and they did transdural lumbar discectomy in 1934. Professor Poole used primitive microscope to remove the spinal cord tumor and used myeloscope to diagnose prolapsed intervertebral disc and spinal cord tumor in 1937. Professor Love is the pioneer of lumbar discectomy as he has invented interlaminar approach and removed the disc extradurally for the first time in 1939. Surgical microscope came into the practice in 1950 and Professor Mellis invented bipolar coagulation forceps in 1953. 1977 and 78, Professor Yasargil and Professor Williams published series of modern microlumbar discectomy. The crux of the technique is it's a 3D magnified vision, good illumination, good hemostasis, and minimal retraction of the nerve root and soft tissue, resulting into excellent and effective decompression of nerve root, and hence it is the procedure of choice for prolapsed lumbar intervertebral disc. The criteria of selection of the patient, it can be of any age, but we have operated youngest of 15 years and the oldest of 80 years of age. Majority of the patients were between 21 and 50 years of age. This is the procedure of choice for prolapsed lumbar intervertebral disc, lateral recess stenosis, and excision of osteophytes. How long can we wait for surgery after diagnosis of prolapsed lumbar intervertebral disc? Routinely, we wait for 6 weeks, but if the patient is younger than 25, then we can wait for 3 weeks only. But if the patient has got neurological deficit, then we go for surgery immediately. Now coming to operative technique, patient is under general anesthesia. Operation table is flat with eye protecting device, 2 bolsters, knee supports, leg supports, and hand rest. Make the patient prone, taking care of pressure points, and we need IITV, Mellis bipolar coagulating forceps, microsurgical instruments, and Professor Ramani's retractors. This picture shows eye protecting device and operation table. Now we will mark the skin incision with the help of IITV. It's 18 mm long, 1 cm away from the midline towards the side of operation. This is the operative microscope with high definition recording system. This picture shows after incising skin, subcutaneous tissue and lumbar fascia we are dissecting the paraspinal muscles away from the laminae. This picture shows Professor Ramani's retractor with hook and blades. We cut lamina with the help of bone scalpel or Carries and Rongers. In this picture, I have shown removal of the bones as well as removal of the ligamentum flavum. After cutting the ligamentum flavum, we retract the nerve root medially and remove the prolapsed intervertebral disc, then suture the lumbar fascia without suturing the muscles, then suture the skin. Now coming to discectomy with tubular retractors. This picture shows that how we put tubular retractor by splitting the paraspinal muscles. In this picture we can see that various size of expandable tubular retractors. Here we can see inserted expandable tubular retractors holding the disc with the pituitary rongers and removed disc material. In this technique, the operative time is 1 hour, minimal blood loss. We give pre-op and post-operative 1 gram of cefotaxime, no shaving, no catheterization and no vacuum drain required. Our post-operative regime is to make patient sit and walk on the same day evening, early muscle strengthening exercise and discharge home next day. They can start sedentary work after 2 weeks, driving 4-wheeler after 3 weeks, riding bike after 4 weeks and can resume hard manual work after 6 weeks. This is the patient who has undergone tubular discectomy, happily sitting and standing. As far as our results are concerned, 98% of the patient has got immediate pain relief. The complication of the surgery includes infections, dural tear and CSF leak, iatrogenic damage to the nerve root, stiffness of the back and list of the spine. Now analyzing our series of 900 patients, males were 61% and females were 39%. Analyzing the prolapsed disc level, L45 was 46%, L5S1 38%, L34 6.5%, above L3 it was 2%, bilateral at one level it was 2.5% and unilateral at two levels 5%. Comparing the prolapsed intervertebral disc level and the age, we found 5th prolapsed lumbar intervertebral disc was more common below 25 years of age. The 4th prolapsed lumbar intervertebral disc was common between 25 to 50 years of age, and 3rd prolapsed lumbar intervertebral disc was found common after 50 years. Looking at the international series for recurrence of the disc lesion, Kasper and Yasargil has no recurrence in their early series. Silver in 1988 had 3.3% recurrence. Wilson in 1979 had 4% recurrence. Williams in 1978 had 9% recurrence, but Williams in later series had no recurrence of the disc lesion. The recurrence rate in our series was 2.44%. 7 patients had technical fault and had to be reoperated. 5 patients developed opposite side lesion at the same level between 1 and 2 years. 3 patients had true recurrence after 6 months, 8 months and 2 years of time. 2 patients had developed adhesion and they underwent adhesiolysis, there was no true disc found. Two patients had calcified PLL and causing nerve root irritation. Three patients had lateral recess stenosis and they were operated for the same. Stress on the adjacent level in our series was 0.7%. 7 patients had higher disc prolapse more than 5 years after surgery on the same side. They required surgery. No patient with higher disc on the opposite side. Comparison between microlumbar discectomy and ex-tubular retractors of 100 cases, we found that there are less pain at the site of operation in case of tubular retractors. The incision is 2 mm shorter in tubular retractors, and you can go one level up or down and can go to the opposite side also. Coming to conclusion, microlumbar discectomy or ex-tubular discectomy are safest, minimally invasive procedure providing direct 3D vision, maximum comfort to the patients and allowing them to go back to their original work, however hard it may be. Thank you very much for giving me opportunity to present my work with this august audience. If you have any question, please do not hesitate to ask me.
So thank you, sir. It was a wonderful lecture. It was elaborate lecture. Good to see that you presented your complications which are on par with any international standards. So any recurrence is a nightmare to any all surgeons. So always we should learn the first surgery is the best chance, so that we should do the best surgery in first go. So any questions from the audience, we can take 2 minutes. We have time. We can take 1 or 2 questions. Otherwise, we'll move to the next speaker. Maybe we can take questions in the last. And definitely, sir, all these years, microlumbar discectomy has been the gold standard in disc surgery.